Hi, welcome to this wellness show in which we're going to talk about superfoods. And I know that you've been interested because you responded to my request, who's interested in knowing more about superfoods. So I've invited my friend here, Alison Heath, to talk about what are superfoods anyway, and why should anybody care? So Alison, what are superfoods?
Well, Tyson, I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you first and everyone who will be listening. And, we hear the word bandied about superfood this, superfood that. And you've got a very good question. A lot of people want to know, what is superfood? So superfoods are foods that don't contain a lot of calories, and they've got packed inside of them all the nutrition, the amino acids, just chucker block full spectrum, nutrient dense food. So they're like powerhouses. And what they do for us is incredible, because we're not putting band-aids on symptoms. No more of that. We're going straight to the root cause and giving our cells the nutrition that it needs on a cellular level.
But why can't I just get that from my vitamins?
Well, let's just take vitamin C. You go to the pharmacy and you just grab a bottle of vitamin C. Well, that vitamin C contains ascorbic acid. Now, real vitamin C in nature has 9 parts. So your body is expecting 9 parts. All your body gets is this concentrated ascorbic acid. When you pee, your pee is bright orange because your body doesn't know what to do with it. It has to chelate it with all of its in its natural form, and it can't do it.
So what does chelate mean? What does that mean?
Well, chelate is when it mends it. It brings it all together, and so that it's able to make full use of it. So if it's just got ascorbic acid and it's expecting 8 other parts, right? And that's only one part of the 8 other parts. It's looking for the 8 other parts. And so it has to try to mend it and knit it all together and stuff so that it can make use of it. Now, I don't claim to be any biochemist or anything like that, not even remotely. I'm just a human being who stumbled across superfoods 31 years ago, turned around bipolar disorder, hypothyroidism, completely gone. Since the year 2000, not even antihistamine or a Tylenol or anything like that in my medicine cabinet. Nothing. Vibrant health. And I had a leg. It was actually because of my leg that was broken with a multiple compound fracture and a non-union with 4 infections in the marrow of the bone. That was the reason that I was even open to the idea of swallowing some superfoods. And it's pretty darn amazing because, Tyson, if we take our vegetables today, 1 bowl of broccoli from 1940, we have to have 85 bowls today to get that amount of nutrition.
Yeah, I can believe that. I'm interested in earth stewardship, and I have a background in permaculture and agriculture and beekeeping. So I understand that our food just doesn't have the vitamins and nutrition because we have not taken care of our soil. So to think that you're going to get food out of your grocery store and get the vitamins and minerals that your body needs is a misnomer. It ain't going to happen. And like you said, then, it's not necessarily going to get it from your vitamins either, because those little vitamin pills don't deliver the vitamins in a way in which your body can even relate to and absorb or process, because they're really artifacts of what the original vitamin is, which was from the food. So they're a chemically artifact of the original vibrational frequency. So that does make sense to me. But what are these superfoods? Like, are they, what qualifies, or what is a superfood? Like, is it, give us some clues. Like, is it broccoli, like you said, or is it cabbage, or what is it?
Broccoli is really good, but
Yeah.
You want to know what a superfood is?
Yeah.
A broccoli sprout.
All right,
Now,
so sprouts.
you can just take those little seeds from the broccoli and you can get a little sprouting bag. You can put water in that, you can hang it up, and you can sprout it. You can have wonderful foods. I've years ago was doing videos on how sprouts, if you look at a sunflower sprout, okay, it's a little stem, it's got two little leaves on it, and that has the full energy of a huge sunflower plant.
Yeah,
So
I would agree with you. I mean, we used to have a competition when we ran the youth hostels in the late 70s, was could we make a full salad out of sprouts? And the answer was yes. We used to have a big 8-foot sprouting system set up to sprout whatever you could imagine. And they were absolutely delicious salads. So I do get that. That is really packed with nutrients, right? I mean, like you said, little sprout has all the energy of that big, huge, giant 12-foot sunflower seed once it's grown. It's all condensed in that one little sprout. So sprouts is part of that. What else is part of that whole idea of superfoods?
Well, it's interesting because, for example, I was using a superfood called astaxanthin. I was using a superfood called ashwagandha. I was using a superfood that most people would know called aloe.
Well, aloe I understand, but those other words, they sound like chemicals from some chemical plant. I mean, I don't even know what they are, but aloe, I know what that is.
Okay, so astaxanthin is part of the algae family.
Ah.
Algae are very, very interesting. Astaxanthin grows as green algae, and then the sun hits it, it gets sunburnt, it turns red. It is the reason that pink flamingos are pink, because their pink flamingos are eating the little shrimp, and the shrimp are eating the astaxanthin. Now, astaxanthin is fabulous for going in and soaking up and absorbing the heavy metals and chemicals and so on in your brain and in your body and your cells and so on. And this is really a big, huge part of superfoods that isn't really mentioned very often.
All right, I get that. I understand that. So what you're saying is that, like, the photoplankton, the one-celled organisms, what the whales and feed on, those sorts of things are the best transmitters or transducers, I guess you could say, or metamorphoses of light on the planet. That they can take the sunlight and convert it into what's necessary for our bodies. I do know a bit about that. I know there was a Russian scientist who did research around this because his family was in the epicenter of Chernobyl and everybody was dying from radiation. And he did experiments because they happened to be actually doing the zooplankton in a lab. So he started experimenting with it, and he found that he could deal with all of the radiation. He did more experimentations with it, and he found that he could reverse every disease, Russian, and every disease known within the cattle, the poultry, and the pig industry. All the diseases were eradicated by feeding them this phytoplankton. So it makes sense to me that we're talking about something that's super, super powerful to heal the body. Are we on the same page with this?
Well, yes, absolutely. Now, astaxanthin is one of the algae families. It's not a microplankton. It's a larger plant. But the fact of the matter is that it is small enough in cellular structure to go through the blood-brain barrier of the eye, to go through the blood-brain barrier of the brain, so it improves your eyesight, like zeaxanthin, and I can't think of the other word right now, won't. They're not able to go in and lutein and zeaxanthin, they're not able to pass through the blood-retina barrier, whereas astaxanthin can. Now, ashwagandha is like a mood food, and it's a root. Maca is another one. But it's learning how to synergistically combine them. And really the devil's in the details. And this is where I've spent my life in research for the last 31 years, fascinated by it, wanting more and more and more for everybody in the world to have access to the knowledge. And especially here in North America, Tyson, it is a shame when I see my friends in the United States and Canada and the UK and so on that have packed on so much extra weight, they're so unhealthy, their quality of life is just down the tubes. And all of that can be turned around with some knowledge. And it's like, if you go into one of these big stores, like health food stores or something, and you see rows and rows and rows of bottles and so on, how are you supposed to know what's good and what isn't? How are you supposed to know which ones have chelated minerals and which ones don't? How are you supposed to know which calcium is the best form of calcium for your body? It's really hard. And that's where my value has come in for people, because I've been able to help shortcut that curve, that learning curve, that, trial and error and so on, and just be able to find the very best for my clients over the years. And I've discovered some new stuff, a
Right.
whole line of foods, of superfoods that are beyond anything in terms of purity, in terms of absorption, and in terms of synergistic combinations and so on. Some of them, for example, one to help make strong bones. And this is another thing that I've turned around. In my family, there's osteoporosis. My older sister's lost 45% of her bone mass.
That's
And
serious.
she's only a few years older than me. And I look at that, and I had osteopenia, and they were giving me Fosamax. Well, there are class action lawsuits about Fosamax. And it was very interesting because I knew intuitively, and they were really pushing it on me, the doctors and this and that. And I took it for a year, and I thought, no, this is not good for me. I feel like this is just making osteoblasts. It's not making solid bone.
Right.
And now I have discovered a combination for strong bones that took 18 months to develop. And it just blows my mind. For me, this kind of stuff is like being a kid in a candy store. It's orgasmic to find all these wonderful, wonderful combinations that are so brilliant. And that's something that we're going to talk about, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I can hear some people on the call saying, yeah, well, it worked for Alison and she's figured out this magic that's good for her body, but what about me? Well, we have an answer for that. We can do a wellness assessment for you. I mean, we are dowsers and energy healers, so we can do muscle testing and dowsing to determine whether this will work for you. I mean, different things work with different people in different amounts, so that we can tailor make this individually. And furthermore, we can go even further. These superfoods can actually be impregnated with your intention through scalar wave technology and delivered to you with that intention embedded in the actual material itself, which will bring about change and transformation at the cellular level like you've never, ever experienced in your life. So we have some really amazing technology, bringing the two of us together, quantum physics, scalar wave technology, using sound therapy, and actually having Alison's knowledge of superfoods. We can really get you from where you are to where you want to be in a very short time. So I'm excited about this. I think you're excited about that, and I hope people listening to this are going to be excited as well. So Alison, I know we're going to want to do a series around all that. Can you give people some of the ideas or some of the places that you want to take people in this journey of discovery, of learning who they are and how superfoods can really help them be the best that they can be? If you would like to attend the upcoming webinar, please click the link below.